Welcome everyone to the Moitsky News for June the 17th, 2020. Today I would like to discuss Boris Johnson's statement to Parliament yesterday concerning the Foreign Office and the Department for International Development, where he announced he would be merging them into a Super Saiyan Foreign Office, which the government has indicated they would like up and running before the United Kingdom hosts and is president of the G7 and COP26 climate change summits, so ideally by autumn for next year. Boris Johnson believes this is to be better, as it joins up policy from two departments that on many occasions were not in sync due to different motives. Add to this that Boris wants to create one department to mobilise Britain's assets overseas. To be honest, I kind of understand it, and I'm surprised it hadn't happened sooner, especially when you consider that they are essentially serving a similar purpose, so why a separate one has to exist when it is a subset of the other makes very little sense. Boris also believes that for far too long, the United Kingdom has been seen as a cash point that was detached from the British diplomatic and commercial priorities, citing that voters will want to see us spend efficiently, which, when you consider the majority he has in Parliament, is correct. Boris also believes that this is long overdue, because as Foreign Secretary, he looked at the Department for International Development's £15 billion aid budget. He saw how the DFID officials who had the power in many embassies around the world, and he learned of the tensions between two departments that at different times had opposing priorities. As Prime Minister, he came to see the diffuse nature of UK foreign policy dispersed between the FCO, DFID, the National Security Council and Downing Street, which does not include the Departments for Trade and Business. So to him, bringing all of them together makes sense. It also falls in line with other policies where they've done something similar. Take, for example, universal credit. The only reason that was created was because it was abundantly clear there were too many different types of benefits, each of which being done and run and hosted and blah 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 by different departments, whereas putting it into one area makes perfect sense. It is less bureaucracy, arguably. Less paperwork, let's go with that. But it does mean then the individual is means assessed instead of somebody taking full advantage of a system to get enough to live comfortably without ever having to contribute towards the very country they are milking. And in this case, foreign policy should be in line with that of the aid budget and other departments where foreign policy dictates what they do, but they don't at the same time. Many international charities have already stated that they knew this was likely to happen, and that this will water down the United Kingdom's aid commitment. The UK's aid commitment is 0.7% of its GDP. It is a commitment we have always abided. It's not a case that we are watering down what we commit, simply that we make sure it goes to the right countries, i.e., countries that need it more than others and not some countries that are continually reliant on a stipend from a country. So some believe that less money will go to countries like Tanzania and Zambia, but more going to the Ukraine and the West Balkans, where they are considered vital European security interests. Boris has also stated in Parliament that the current integrated review of UK foreign policy will look again at redefining what actually counts as aid, which is where I think we should all be thinking instead of, yes, but they need the money cause. You don't just throw money at things and that's it and walk away. You resolve the reason they need the money in the first place. It's called aid, not pocket money. Former British ambassador to Cairo and one-time foreign policy advisor to David Cameron, John Casson, believes that the merger will blend the best of the FCO's political agility and the best of the DFID's delivery skills. His fear is that this new department, the Super Saiyan Foreign Office, will comprise of the worst of the FCO's short-termism and the DFID's bureaucratic caution. And as is customary with any BBC article like the one I'm citing for this video, it spends the remaining 4 paragraphs speculating and using what they usually call totally not biased reporting to speculate the absolute worst of what could happen and that Boris is clearly unprepared. There are a few interesting things where he's been accused of using this as a cover for his failed economic and health policies. However, I would point out, if he really wanted to distract, all he had to do was reply to Marcus Rashford, the Manchester United football player, who managed to get the UK government to U-turn on free school lunches. I know people are divided on this. I have no children, so I have no vested interest in the subject. But I know people are divided regardless when it comes to the fact people think this is free, but actually it's not. The vouchers that parents can claim serve about 1.3 million children during the summer holidays. That's a lot of money. So by all means, make your own decision as to whether or not you think the government is right or not to U-turn, or whether they should ban it. I don't care. Truthfully, I don't. But if Boris wanted to truly distract from health and economic policy, he should have just pounced on that and invited Marcus Rashford to number 10. That would have been a far superior distraction than merging 2 offices. But I could be wrong. And if I am, by all means, do tell me in the comments down below. As a final thing, I'm streaming on Twitch later tonight. If you're at all interested in some casual gameplay and chit-chat, swing by. Linked in the description down below.